Hi everyone, it's me, Krylios, and I'm here back again. And I'm the Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today, I have Frazier O'Leary, who is running for the State Board of Education here in the District of Columbia. How are you today, Frazier?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Great to have you here today. Well, let's begin with a little bit of an introduction about yourself and a background and why you decided to run this year.
Well, my background is as an educator. I started teaching in DCPS in January of 1971. I taught for 7 years at Garner-Patterson Junior High School. And then I moved up the hill to Cardozo High School, where I taught for 40 years. I'm an English teacher. I also was a coach. I coached all of the major sports there and also, well, tennis too. But I don't know if you consider that a major sport.
I do.
That's because you play tennis.
I wish I did. I used to back in high school a little bit.
Okay. But I was also an AP teacher. I taught AP for about 25 years. I'm still an AP reader for the literature exam. I'm a father of five children. They're all adults now. Four of them graduated college. My baby just graduated from college in June from St. John's University. And my two youngest children are at home with me during this pandemic. And I consider it sort of a gap year. We'll see what happens with this virus, which nobody really understands as far as what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I retired in 2017. My wife was a Head Start teacher. She was a fabulous teacher. She was going to retire in 2018. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And passed 3 months after I retired. The rest of 2017 and the beginning of 2018, I was mourning her loss as I do every day. And my middle son, was at the Safeway up on Georgia Avenue in Piney Branch, and he called me up and said, "Dad, there's a guy collecting signatures for the vacant seat on the State Board of Education." Well, I didn't even know there was a vacant seat, but it seemed like there was a message from my wife, Myra, and God. And so we ran in a special election in September, October, November, and the election was in December, and we won by a pretty big margin. So I've been on the board for almost 2 years now, and that's in itself has been an education. And there haven't been a lot of surprises because I was in the system for 47 years, and I know how unresponsive the city government has been, especially since mayoral control started in whatever year it started. I forgot. Maybe 2013, maybe before that. But so I've been advocating for us on the state board having more power as far as decision making. And we've been trying to raise our voices to find out what's going on as far as this pandemic, since the mayor's decided to open schools in the beginning of November. And as far as I know, and as I'm concerned, I don't know if the buildings are safe for our children, for the teachers, for the staff in the buildings. And I'm totally against that.
Tell me share with us what kind of tips or measures or whatever that you would like, that you think should be put in place for us to open schools safer so that schools can be open and they can be safer. Students are safe, teachers are safe, parents are safe. Tell me about some of those measures that you think would be important in this
I think
situation.
the most important measure is we as parents and community members in all of the wards have no idea what the buildings look like. We don't know what kind of provisions they've taken to make the buildings safe as far as the HVAC systems, the air in the buildings, the circulation of air in buildings, the PPE equipment, although we've been told that that's been delivered to all the schools. I don't know anything about protective barriers, how they're going to test each person as they come into the building daily, how the masks are just, all of that information has been glossed over by the chancellor and the mayor. And we really don't know what's going on in the buildings. I think the communication system has broken down, that there's no transparency about what's going on as far as the decisions that are being made. One thing I learned before I became a teacher and a student the second time, because I didn't do well my first year in college. I did really well playing baseball, but not very well as a student. And I went in the Army, and a year later I was in Vietnam. And I left Vietnam and I went to OCS to become an officer. And what my mentor in the Army told me is the most important thing as an officer is to keep your men informed, to let people know what's going on. It shouldn't be surprises. And everything that's happened since the pandemic started has been a surprise announcement by the mayor that wasn't shared with the community before the announcement was made. It's like a guessing game, what's going to go on with that. I think that's the most important thing, to have the buildings. In order for me to send my children, if they were of school age right now, to a building, I need to know exactly what's going on to make my children safe and the adults in the building safe.
Yes, yes, very, very important, very important. You spoke about sports quite a bit. Tell me a little bit about, COVID and sports, and how, what kind of measures or what's important, in this time when it comes to, the major sports, and kind of balancing that with being safe with the coronavirus.
Well, right now in the metropolitan area, there really aren't too many competitive sports going on. Football's been shut down. Basketball, they're looking at basketball starting, I think, in December, maybe having the season start in January. And then they're talking about having football in the springtime. They're doing, I think the schedule is like, the hypothetical schedule is basketball, then football, then baseball. And probably tennis will fit in with baseball, as it always does. And I can't imagine, that's a good hypothetical, maybe, but we don't know. This virus is not something that anyone, except for the person that lives down the street on 16th Street, he thinks it's going away, but he has no knowledge of anything. So anyone that listens to anything that he says is going to vote for him. Let's put it that way. So, we have no idea about this virus. The numbers are spiking. The mayor has lengthened the emergency to December. Why a building would open before December is beyond my comprehension. So as far as sports are concerned, and I was an athlete. I played, believe it or not. I played baseball till I was 65. I'm 75 now. And I loved playing. I played all the sports, and I love playing it. And I know how athletes love playing sports. The NBA did a great job by being in a bubble. Nobody left it. If they left it, they didn't play anymore. All right. The baseball leagues going into the World Series now, I don't think there have been any baseball players. They were allowed to opt out, and several really good baseball players opted out. But none of the baseball players have come down with the virus because they're in a very, very controlled setting. And football has had its problems. I tend to believe that I don't know if the football season is going to make it through the professional football season. They're going to have some real problems in these major college conferences in football, the Big Five, they call them. Like the Big Ten is starting this weekend, and Wisconsin is the highest ranking of viruses in the country right now. Wisconsin's a member of the Big Ten. We'll see what happens because they don't know about this virus. Nobody knows. The doctors, like Fauci is a good example. You know, he's supposed to be the guru, and his advice is always good, but they don't know about this virus because it's never happened before, and it's not the flu. They you know, it's not like any other flu. We've had more people. They're saying right now, if we don't get a vaccine and people don't listen to what they're saying, that another 500,000 people will die.
That's what they say.
That's almost 1 million people in the United States of America who might die from the virus because people don't do what they're supposed to do. Now,
Well, let's tell me something. Share with me, you know, for DC, because we, you know, the virus, you know, has taken hold here as well, and it has, you know, changed up everything when it comes to how we do life and how we manage society, especially when it comes to education. Now, if elected, what's the one big thing that you would like to see some change in, or you'd like to implement or have an effect on when it comes to COVID and our schools?
well, okay. I don't know if you know, but I'm running unopposed.
I know.
So I know that my children and I both voted for me, and I voted for me. So I guess that I'll win, and I'm sure that I will. And I know I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing now besides what I've just said about leadership. You know, the leaders aren't leading.
Mhm.
And we have our reopening on Wednesday night for all of the many millions of viewers that are watching this. On Wednesday night, you can watch it on
Millions.
the District Knowledge Network. And we have our public meeting. Anyone can testify. It's not too late to sign up to testify, and it's about the reopening. In June, we had 51 teachers testify. We had a 6-hour public meeting, and none of the teachers said they would go back into the building unless they were proven to be safe. And we haven't been given any kind of concrete information about whether the buildings are safe to begin with and what kind of precautions these little children, because it's only elementary school and pre-K children going into the buildings on November the 9th, because the last thing in the world that I want to hear is that someone passed away because of an illness that they got from the school buildings. That is paramount in whatever decisions are made by the leadership. As you know, the State Board of Education is a policy-making board. The mayor didn't even ask the State Board of Education to be part of her reopen committee. We weren't even at the table for the education committee on the mayor's reopening group. So that's, you know, the only people that listen to us are the people that hears us. You know, it's not, and so I'm speaking to anyone who's listening or watching, you know, do not allow your children to go back in a building that hasn't been proven to be safe. Now, we have a lot of new buildings in the city, especially the high schools. Both of our high schools in Ward 4, both of our middle schools in Ward 4 are brand new buildings. All right. The HVAC system at Roosevelt has never worked completely. And if it's working right now, it's only because it's been fixed in the last month. All right. And we have a lot of older buildings. I'll take away the old buildings in the ward too. Whittier, Tubman, Whittier, I'm sorry, Truesdale are really old buildings. And those buildings don't even have elevators in them, which is against the law as far as the Americans for Disabled Act. All right. So they don't have central air. You know, I don't have central air in my house. I've got window units. All right. I have fans. But that's in my house. All right. At Cardozo until 2013, we had portable air conditioners on the floor. We didn't even have those maybe 10 years before that. We didn't have air conditioning for 30 years. The first 30 years I was at Cardozo, we had windows that we opened to let the air come in.
Well, Mr. O'Leary, tell me for the viewers who want to, follow you and keep up with you and support your campaign as well, how can they go about doing that? What website can they go to?
I have I've got my card. It's got the Twitter and all that. My son, who's my campaign manager, follows all of that. But we have a Twitter account. You can just look up Frazier O'Leary on the Twitter account, Instagram. And I have a Facebook account. But I also, my email is oman9, OMAN, the number 9, at AOL.com. Most of those people don't even know that AOL still exists, probably. And my phone number is 202-236-2184. And they can get in touch with me anytime. And I'll be back with them.
Love it.
I do have one thing. Since January, I've been collecting books for Ward 4 elementary schools, and we've donated from the community. We've donated over 12,000 books for the elementary schools and the high schools and the middle schools, several thousand to them. Since March, since the pandemic started. We collect books at the food sites and from communities. I was collecting books all weekend from people who donated books. So anybody who wants to donate books can get in touch with me. We're trying to just get elementary and lower books.
Love it. Thanks so much for joining me today, Frazier. I mean, it's so good what you're doing for the community, and you're running unopposed. So good luck on the election.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. The links are in the description. Bye, everyone.